Black Friday here in the United States doesn't just mean shopping. Oh, no. It means much, much more. It means that the PFL Championships are back. The 2024 season will come to a close in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We will see multiple fighters look to become two-time PFL champions. We will see multiple fighters look to continue to remain undefeated in their professional careers and become PFL champions, and much, much more. I'm going to break down each of these fights, which ones I'm looking forward to the most, and it starts in the featherweight division with, some would say, the face of the PFL in Brendan Loughnane. He won it back in 2022, didn't even make the playoffs in 2023, but here in 2024, he will look to capitalize on a 3-0 year, finish 4-0, and with another $1 million in the bank. But standing in his way is the undefeated 17-0 Timur Khizriev. Brendan Loughnane, out of Manchester, England, 34 years old, in his prime, is undoubtedly one of, if not the biggest names in the PFL organization. Of course, we have fighters like Francis Ngannou, Chris Cyborg, amongst the top of the organization as well. But if we're talking fighters that have been active in the promotion for years at this point, been at the top of the mountain and been a champion for their promotion, look no further than someone like Brendan Loughnane, who has a very fun fight style, wants to stand and trade and brawl against his opponents, but does it in a very technically savvy way as well. He fights very smart, but when he capitalizes on his opponents, he can get the finish. Of his 29 victories, 16 of them are by way of knockout, and 2 of those have come in this 2024 season. He started the year with a first-round knockout over Bellator alum Pedro Carvalho, then finished Justin Gonzalez due to a doctor stoppage, and most recently in his playoff bout, it wasn't a finish, but it was a decision victory over UFC veteran and Bellator veteran Kai Kamaka III. In 2022, Brendan Loughnane ran the table, including victories over Chris Wade and a finish in the championships over Bubba Jenkins. As I said, didn't even make the playoffs in 2023, went 1-1 in the regular season. The loss was to Jesus Pinedo, who went on to have a bit of an underdog story and capture the featherweight title in 2023 for the PFL. But standing across from him is the 29-year-old undefeated phenom from Russia, Timur Khizriev, the first of a couple undefeated fighters from Russia on this PFL championship card. He entered Bellator back in November of 2022, started his tenure there 3-0. Then we know Bellator got acquired by the PFL. That inserted Timur into the featherweight season, where he has gone 3-0 so far, including decision victories over Brett Johns, Enrique Barzola, and Gabriel Braga. This is a tale as old as time. The striker versus the grappler. Brendan Loughnane will look to keep this fight on the feet and look for the knockout. Timur Khizriev will want to do the exact opposite. Get Brendan Loughnane down, hold him there, control him, look for ground and pound, look for submissions, and ultimately get a victory, whatever means necessary. As I finish off each discussion, I want to question you on who you think will win each division. It starts here at 145. Will Brendan Loughnane become a 2-time PFL champion, or Timur Khizriev improve to 18-0 and become a PFL champion, capturing his first major MMA promotional title? The co-main event is the most highly anticipated PFL bout of the year, in my opinion, excluding the one-off pay-per-view where we saw Francis Ngannou versus Renan Ferreira and Chris Cyborg versus Larissa Pacheco. If we're talking the straight up PFL 2024 season across all 6 weight classes, all possible matchups, this is the one that we all had our eyes on at the beginning of the year, from the second that the PFL signed former UFC title challenger Taila Santos to the roster. She has made it through the gauntlet, all the way to the championship fight with a 3-0 year, and now she will take on the undefeated, dangerous Dakota Ditcheva, the 26-year-old phenom out of Manchester, England, 13-0, 12 victories by stoppage, 11 of those 12 are by way of knockout. The lethal Muay Thai practitioner that is Dakota Ditcheva will have by far the biggest test of her career against a seasoned UFC veteran turn undefeated PFL fighter, Taila Santos. This fight right here, honestly, should have been the main event. Taila Santos may have finished her UFC tenure on a 2-fight skid, but look at those fights. It was Erin Blanchfield in August of last year, someone who has went on to nearly challenge for a title, be in a number 1 contendership bout, and has since held her spot in the top 3 of that flyweight division. And prior to that, it was a very, very controversial loss in a championship bout to the longtime reigning Valentina Shevchenko, now turned two-time flyweight champion. To this day, there are a lot of people that feel Taila Santos did enough to get the nod that night in June of 2022, but she ultimately lost a split decision. But ever since entering free agency, deciding to take her career and talents to the PFL Smart Cage, she has went 3-0. She had a first-round submission in her first fight of the season, then decision victories over Jenna Bishop and Bellator flyweight champion Liz Carmouche. A very good fight back in August, one that got a little dangerous for Taila Santos at times, but she did enough to get the job done. A huge victory if we're talking name value as well. Liz Carmouche has absolutely turned the tides of her career, had a second wind, been a champion in Bellator, 4 or 5 title defenses, a plethora of finishes during her time, was on a truly amazing run, so that is by no means a slouch of a victory for Santos, even though it did get ugly. And for Dakota Ditcheva, she is the 2023 PFL Europe Women's Flyweight Champion and now joined the official PFL full-time roster and has gone 3-0 in the season with 3 first-round knockout victories. Lisa Malden, Chelsea Hackett, and most recently and most prominently in terms of name value and experience, Jenna Bishop. She finished her 3 minutes and 54 seconds into the first round after having to face definitely the most adversity of her 2024 season and maybe of her entire 13-fight career, and that adversity wasn't very much. I think Dakota Ditcheva is absolutely on track to become the face of the Professional Fighters League across the board, and maybe even the face of women's mixed martial arts. At 26, she is not even in her prime yet. With that record, with her finishing prowess, with her length and her reach, her confidence, not cockiness either. There's a bit of a swagger to her, but she is very humble at the same time, something that I can respect a lot. She is everything. She is the total package if you are a mixed martial arts organization, and if she gets the victory here over Taila Santos, the PFL better do everything they can to keep her a part of their organization, because I can almost guarantee the PFL knows about Dakota Ditcheva and the potential that she possesses, especially when you consider their champion Valentina Shevchenko is on the way out. The women's flyweight division is as good as it's ever been before. Imagine adding Dakota Ditcheva to the mix. The PFL has a lot of pressure this offseason to keep Ditcheva as a part of their roster. But no pressure, right? Because all that could go out the wayside if she loses here to Taila Santos in what is surely her biggest test in terms of skills in the cage and in terms of experience in name-valued opponents. Taila Santos is a legitimate threat in her prime years at 33 years old, if I'm not mistaken, and is good everywhere. Truly is dangerous on the feet, carries power, and is great with her grappling, her wrestling, her clinch work, and her jiu-jitsu. This will be a skill set that Dakota has not really had to go up against yet, and if she can pass this test with flying colors, that says so much. I already truly feel in mixed martial arts right now, female mixed martial arts, Dakota Ditcheva is the best striker across the board, regardless of weight class, regardless of promotion, and she has a chance to showcase her skills in front of the biggest eyeball she's ever had, because this PFL Championship card is not on pay-per-view. It is open and free to all ESPN Plus subscribers, therefore allowing that much more attention to this card. This could be a true monumental star-making performance for Dangerous Dakota. What do you think it's going to be in this women's flyweight bout? Do you think Taila Santos is just too much too soon, a little bit too much to handle for the young 26-year-old Dakota Ditcheva? Talia's skill set, good everywhere essentially, paired with her experience of opponents that she's had over the past 5 or 6 years, or is the hype legitimate for Dakota Ditcheva at 13 years old? All of the finishes, all of the hype, all of the momentum, the biggest test to date. Will she pass that test with flying colors? Will she get a victory? Will she even get another knockout performance? Give me your thoughts. Give me your predictions for this incredible women's flyweight bout. Again, this should have been the main event in my opinion. The biggest fight of the 2024 PFL season right here. Next up is the light heavyweight division championship fight, where we will see last year's 2023 champion Impa Kasanganay look to go back-to-back, and in order to do so, he will have to defeat Dovletdzhan Yagshimuradov. For Impa Kasanganay, a 2019 and 2020 Dana White Contender Series alum, where he went 2-0 on that show, kicked off his UFC career 1-0 with a decision victory over Maki Pitolo, but then would go on to lose 2 of his next 3 fights, and both of those losses were by vicious knockout, including the one to Joaquin Buckley in what was one of the most wild, insane knockouts in UFC history back in 2020. Even in his first fight post-UFC, he would lose in Eagle FC via split decision, albeit, but since then, in recent memory, I don't think I've seen someone turn a career around as much as I have seen Impa Kasanganay do, dating back from July of 2022 until present day, where he would rally off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive bouts, including a fight in ex-MMA and a fight on the Contender Series version for the PFL, where he would get a finish, earn a contract to fight in the PFL, fight 2 fights in the season, earn his shot in the playoffs, and then beat Josh Silveira to become the PFL 2023 champion. 5 fights in 1 calendar year for Impa Kasanganay, all of them by victory, and 3 of them by way of stoppage. And some would say that momentum halted a little bit back in February of this year, where he did face Johnny Eblen, the undefeated middleweight champion for Bellator, in the PFL versus Bellator champion versus champions card, but he gave Johnny Eblen an absolute run for his money. It was a very close split decision where Impa Kasanganay was razor close to not only just winning that fight, but finishing Johnny Eblen, who has went on to since defend his title 1 more time. But right back on the horse Impa Kasanganay would go, and he has fought 3 times this year in the 205-pound tournament with 3 victories, including 2 TKO finishes, Alex Pelosi and Jacob Nadeau, and a decision victory over Josh Silveira, the very same man he beat in the 2023 finals. Standing across from him is Dovletdzhan Yagshimuradov, who has not lost a fight since October 16th of 2021. As a matter of fact, he started his Bellator career 0-2, both of those losses in that 2021 calendar, but has tallied off 6 consecutive victories since then. He fought 3 times in Bellator before the acquisition, and obviously 3 times this year in the PFL season. 1 TKO finish over Jacob Nadeau in round 1, and 2 back-to-back decisions over Simon Biong and Rob Wilkinson, a former PFL champion and UFC veteran. And now the 35-year-old Dovletdzhan Yagshimuradov will look to get the biggest victory of his career, truly halt that momentum that Impa Kasanganay has garnered over the last 2 years. He's finished 17 of his 24 victories and been finished in 5 of his 7 losses. This fight should be very entertaining and very intriguing. For me personally, just because of the storylines behind Impa Kasanganay's career, it would be incredible to see him go back-to-back, but it is a big, tall task, an uphill battle against Yagshimuradov. What do you think? Do you see Impa going back-to-back 2023 and 2024 champion, or will there be an and new for the 2024 season being Dovletdzhan Yagshimuradov? Oh boy, and if you want to talk intrigue, look no further than the welterweight championship bout between 2 undefeated Russians. We have Shamil Musaev and Magomed Umalatov, both of them 17-0, both of them 13 finishes, and both of them in their fighting prime. Shamil 30 and Magomed 32 years old. Someone's O has got to go. Oh, I couldn't wait to say that. I guess for what it's worth, Shamil Musaev does have a draw to his record, but outside of that, the man is literally flawless. He's a multi-fight veteran of KSW, a huge European mixed martial arts promotion, and he has gone 3-0 in the 2024 season, including victories over Logan Storley and 2 back-to-back wins over Murad Ramazanov, who at that time was also undefeated. And for Umalatov, it feels like the time is truly now. He's a 2021 season alum, no playoff experience. He's a 2022 season alum, no playoff experience. He's a 2023 season alum, but no playoff experience. But now we are here in 2024. He's 3-0 on the year with victories over Bellator veterans Andrei Korshkov, Brennan Ward, and Neiman Gracie. Sandwiched in there was the submission victory via anaconda choke. That was against Ward. Albeit Magomed will be slightly bigger in this matchup, a 3-inch height difference in this fight. Both guys very strong physically for the 170-pound division. I think truly this is a coin flip fight, and as a matter of fact, I've not seen the odds, so those could say the exact opposite. I was definitely wrong in terms of coin flip, in terms of betting odds, but it's actually not on the side I thought it would be, as Shamil Musaev is a minus 265 favorite on Tuesday, the day that I'm recording this, on the comeback Magomed Umalatov at plus 215. So the odds may not quite say coin flip, but my mind sure does. I think this is going to be a very high-level chess match. What do you think? Which undefeated Russian phenom will remain undefeated and become PFL champion? Will it be the favorite Shamil Musaev or the underdog Magomed Umalatov? Next up, we have the lightweight championship, and that is between former Bellator lightweight world champion Brent Primus at 39 years young, looking to add another championship belt to his resume, this time in the PFL. To do so, he will be taking on Gadzhi Rabadanov, who has not lost a fight since December 4th of 2020. As a matter of fact, Gadzhi is on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fight win streak. In the 2024 season, he has beaten Solomon Renfro, Elvin Espinoza, and Michael Dufort. He actually finished Michael Dufort in their playoff bout. He was a multi-fight Bellator veteran, had a stint in Rizin where they do the Bellator versus Rizin cards. He has a plethora of experience, even fought in Eagle FC, and had one fight in the 2019 PFL season. And for Brent Primus, the guy has been around for over a decade, made his Bellator debut back in September of 2013. He would go on to become the lightweight world champion by beating Michael Chandler, now a top 10 UFC lightweight. He would have a pair of fights with him, as a matter of fact. He would go on to fight for the title again versus the now current undefeated champion that is Usman Nurmagomedov. He's been in there with Benson Henderson, Alexander Chablis, and Mansur Banaoui. And he's looked damn good throughout this 2024 season. Back-to-back submission victories over Bruno Miranda and Solomon Renfro, and a decision over Cassius Clay Collard in the playoffs. Man, could you imagine at 39 years old, Brent Primus getting a second promotional world title against someone who has so much momentum and is going to be how much younger in this fight? He's going to be 8 years younger will be Rabadanov, 23-4, 12 finishes to his name. Brent Primus has finished 10 of his 15. I think this is actually going to be a much more competitive bout than some people may think. Brent Primus could pull off the big time upset here. But do you agree, or do you think this is all but set in stone for Gadzhi Rabadanov, who at this point in time when I'm recording is a minus 550 favorite on the comeback? Brent Primus, the former Bellator champion, plus 410. And last but not least, the big boys at heavyweight are kicking off the string of 6 consecutive title fights, and it will be the longtime PFL veteran Denis Goltsov looking to finally become a champion for the promotion, taking on Oleg Popov, who has not lost a fight in over 8 years. Over the course of this 8-year span, Oleg Popov has tallied off 17 consecutive victories, bringing his overall record to 19-1, 12 finishes, and just 32 years old, right now in his prime. Not the biggest of heavyweights by any means. I truly feel that he could definitely be a light heavyweight if I'm being quite honest with you, but he is here competing in the biggest weight class, and he has made it to the very final fight of the season, and he's done so by beating Steve Mowry, Davion Franklin, and Linton Vassell, the latter 2 by decision, and the first fight of the year, a second round TKO. And for Denis Goltsov, oh man, what a story it would be if he can finally put it all together and become the $1 million champion of the PFL, because he made it to the playoffs in 2019 and lost. He made it to the playoffs in 2021 and lost. He made it to the playoffs in 2023. I'll take it a step further. He made it to the championship fight where he would lose to Renan Ferreira. But now, in 2024, he made it through the regular season. He made it through the playoffs, and now he is in the championship fight for a second straight year. Will he finally see it all the way through? With his 3 victories this year, they are all by TKO. 2 in the first round, 1 in the third round, Linton Vassell, Thiago Santos, former UFC title challenger, and Tim Johnson, a former Bellator heavyweight title challenger. All of that experience dating back 5 years in this promotion, but still just 34 years old, 43 professional bouts to his name, 35 victories, 27 of those are by way of stoppage, 8 losses, 7 of those are by way of stoppage. Oh my, the big boys are going to hit and they are going to connect because it's a tale of two opposite fighters. Oleg Popov will slow this fight down and do what he has to do to just get the victory, whereas Denis Goltsov is lethal. He is dangerous and he carries knockout power, not to mention a plethora of submission skills. So who's going to take it in the heavyweight division? Will it be Goltsov finally reaching the top of the mountain, or will it be Oleg Popov remaining undefeated heading into year number 9 in a row? I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of each championship fight for the PFL, 6 in total for this upcoming Friday, November 29th, 2024. Sure to be a huge night in the history of the PFL. For the first time ever, they're doing it abroad in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. All of the eyeballs and attention of the MMA world will be on the PFL this weekend because there is no UFC competition. So we will see how things play out for the 2024 Professional Fighters League season. Give me all of your thoughts, your bets, and your predictions in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new, where every single week I will break down the biggest and best fights heading into each fight card, the best storylines, and what is at stake in those fights. I recap the most meaningful results every single week, and I give my thoughts and opinions on MMA news and fight announcements. You can join the community on social media at Verbal Spar MMA on X, Instagram, and TikTok, and you can follow on your favorite audio listening platform, where every Friday and Monday podcast episodes release on Spotify, Apple, and more. Have a great weekend, enjoy the fights, and I will see you in the next video.